Hey, what is up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode on my channel. Today we are going to be doing how many books did I get off my physical TBR from 2023. So the end of 2023, I had a lot of books on my TBR, and now we have to go through and see how many of them I actually read. I posted a video the beginning of the year last year of my entire TBR from 2023 that was still physical, like my physical TBR. And we're going to see how many of them I have read. There was a lot of books, and there's going to be a lot of books this year. I'm not sure how many I read. I did read, so far as I'm filming this, 52, but I'm reading Christmas books that were not on my TBR, so I can film this video now. But at the moment, I read 52. So some of them were rereads, some of them were new. Hopefully we get a bunch off my TBR, but I'm not sure. So without further ado, let's get started. So first we have Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, and this is still on my physical TBR. Then I have The House on Pooh Corner. Still haven't read this. Then I have Schooled, also still have not read this. And it is on my TBR, so that's not ideal either. Then I have The Happy Prince and Other Happy Stories, which, once again, still have not read this book. Then we have The Wizard of Oz, still have not read this. Peter Pan and the Kensington Gardens, still have not read that. Treasure Island, which I also still haven't read. And Robin Hood, which I also still haven't read. And those ones are embarrassing because I bought those in 2022. And I still have not read them. So, to continue, let's go. Then I have 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and The Picture of Dorian Gray. I still have not read these. I actually want to collect all of these books and classics. I think that these are really, really cute. They're from my local bookstore. They're not local. It's like a chain bookstore. But they're 3 for $10, and I actually have a lot of them. So, then we have the complete novels of Jane Austen. I actually have a video plan for this. I just didn't come around to reading this or filming it, so I have this. So, the first book that I did read, The Shadows Between Us. I read this in April? No. July, I think. So yeah, The Shadows Between Us. First one I got off my physical TBR of 2023. And we have The Kingdom of Back by Maria Lu. This is still on my physical TBR. Then I have Mary Poppins. This is also still on my physical TBR. Then I have The Princess Diaries by Meg Cabot, also still on my physical TBR. Then we have the last 3 books in the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants series. Also still haven't read any of these 3. We have Serafina. This is still on my physical TBR. Then we have Kingdom of Ash and Fires. I also still have not read this. I do have a video plan for it. Then I have Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales. Still haven't read this. We have Grace and Fury, also still on my physical TBR. Jervin Hansen, also, surprise, surprise, still on my physical TBR. Prodigy, however, I can defend this with the fact of this is the sequel in a series. I did technically buy the first one, but I bought it late this year and I didn't. It was $4 and this was $5, okay? That's justifiable. Not really. They're still taking up space on my TBR. But I have this. I have To Kill a Kingdom by Alexander Christo. Still have not read this. Then we have 14 Silver Stars, which is another book off of the TBR that I have in fact read. So that gives us 2 that I've read. Then I have Divine Rivals, which is another book that I did read. I actually loved this book. You will have heard in my wrap up of the year. I loved this book. It's very close. And Ruthless Vows, which my friend's actually borrowing, so the book isn't here, but the dust jacket is. Yeah, I also read this year, and loved it, so. And I have Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. Yeah, I still haven't read these. Then I have Four Dead Queens, which is still on my physical TBR. I tried to read it, then I didn't want to. I might have said it last year. I'm not actually sure. But I do have to read this. I have Cinder and Glass. Then we have Fallen Kingdoms, which, surprise, surprise, is still on my physical is still on my physical TBR. And I have The Girl Who Drank the Moon, which is another book I can take off my physical TBR. I read this year. Then we have The School for Good and Evil. A School for Good and Evil, which is still on my physical TBR. Then I have The Orphan's Wish by Melanie Dickerson. Then I have Twin Crowns and First Crowns. These are still my TBR, but these are still my physical TBR because the third one isn't in paperback yet, and I thought it was a duology, and it wasn't, so that was my bad. But then I have Assistant to the Villain, which I did read this year, so I can take that off my list. Once I Knew, and Life of Mine, which is actually a trilogy, and the third book came out this year, so I'm probably going to buy that whenever I read them, which is kind of unfortunate, but I do have them. This one helped get a lot of books off my shelf. A lot of books. 6. The Selection, The Elite, The One, Happily Ever After, The Heir, and The Crown. I actually read these in March, and I really do love this series. It has a very special place in my heart. So that gives me 6 off of my TBR. And we have a trilogy I haven't read. I got a box set of this from my grandmother. It's the Voice in the Wind trilogy by Francine Rivers. So it has A Voice in the Wind, Echo in the Darkness, and As Sure as Dawn. So I do want to read these this year, but it's not like top tier priority, but I would like to read them this year. And we have A Crown of Chains by Erin Phillips. I still have not read this. I really, really wanted to, but I just didn't. Same thing happened with A Bond of Briars. I actually started this book, and it was, I don't know, it was a little slow to get into, and I wasn't getting it. I was already in a book slump, so I was like, I'm not going to do that. I will come back to it, though. I really do want to read this book. The Signature Classic C.S. Lewis collection, which includes Mere Christianity, The Screwtape's Letters, The Abolition of Man, The Great Divorce, The Problem of Pain, Miracles, and a Grief Observed. I have still not read a single one of those books. But, maybe this year I'll read it, I guess. I have Fablehaven, which I still have not read. Mother-Daughter Book Club and the Mother-Daughter Book Club about Much Ado About Anne. I'll probably end up audiobooking these. But we'll see. Confessions of a Shopaholic. This is still on my TBR. Princess Ben, another book that is still on my TBR, but I actually have a video planned that this is in, so hopefully I will actually read that and film this video this year. The Black Cauldron by Lloyd Alexander. Hopefully I'll get to this year. And I have The Devil Wears Prada. Still haven't read, by the way. The Secret to Dragonhome, which I still have not read. The Distance to Home by Jen Bishop. Also haven't read, but I do have a video planned for it. Oz the Great and Powerful. Still have not read this. The Sisters Grimm by Michael Buckley. Ella Enchanted, which I also still have not read. Emily Woodsnap and the Monsters from the Deep, which I also have a video for, but I also still have not read. The name of this book is Secret. Also a book that I have for a video, also a book I have not read yet. This one I actually don't know where my copy went, but I have Before Green Gables and the entire Green Gables series, apart from one because I read one last year, so there's that. Then I have The Giver, still haven't read. Where the Crawdads Sing, also still have not read. Let the Sky Fall by Shannon Messenger, which is one of my favorite authors. I really do need to read this. And Let the Storm Break, which is the sequel. Journey to the Hopewell Star by Hannah State. Scrap City by D.S. Thornton, which I also have a video planned for. I have the first 2 Wings of Fire books, also still on my TBR. I'm actually not going to go get this book because it is not even in the room I'm in. It is Kingdom of Ash. I have read this. I read the whole Throne of Glass series. I actually don't know how many are in this video. I think it might just be the last 3 or just Kingdom of Ash, but I have read them all. Loved them. Oh my goodness. Then I have Ender's Game by Scott Orson Card. No, it's Orson Scott Card. To be fair, it's fine. Anyway, Ender's Game, still have not read. BFG by Roald Dahl, still have not read. Then Beastly by Alex Finn, also still have not read. I have Mary Poppins Returns by P.L. Travers. Stuart Little, still haven't read. Then we still have both the Glee books that I still haven't read that my friend gave me, so there's that. So, still have the first 2 books of the Matched trilogy. I also still have Dragon Rider by Cornelia Funk, and Inkheart and Inkspell, also by Cornelia Funk, that I also still have not read. Then we have The Fire Within and Icefire, which I read when I was little, and I don't know, there's something about this series that just had a special place in my heart. First 2 books were like $3 and $4, so I bought them. Haven't read them yet though. So Aragon, which I still have not read. Then I have Love and Gelato, which I still haven't read, but I am probably going to read this year because I'm bringing it with me on vacation. 2 more books I have read, The Do-Over and Betting on You by Lynn Painter. I have read both of these books this year. I really, really, really liked them. So yeah, Betting on You and The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. Then we have Bookish and the Beast, which I also have not read. Another book series I'm not going to go get is the Harry Potter ones for the same reason. I still have not read those. I did not read these books, and I bought these before I bought Ruthless Vows, so I'm not really sure what they were in the video. I did read these. I am adding them. We have These Hollow Vows and These Twisted Bonds. These were the first 2 books I read in 2024, and I loved these books. So, yeah, I had these with me before 2024 because I left to go on a vacation December 30th. No, it was like December 28th, and I had these with me. So I'm not really sure why these weren't in the original video, but I did read both of these while I was on that vacation. And Rune and Rising, which I don't know why it wasn't featured, because Six of Crows was, and I bought this in a box set with Six of Crows. But I also read this year. I audiobooked it, because I literally did not enjoy this series at all. So, with all that being said, I have to do statistics. I'll be back in a second. Sorry. Also just noticed this, which I also had. This is Winnie the Pooh, which I also hadn't read. So I also don't know why this is on here, but I've also read this. In total, last year, I had 111 books on my physical TBR. Now, well, if I didn't buy any more books this year, I would have had 93, which means I only read 18 books off my physical TBR out of 50 that I read. And, that's 84% books I did not read this year. 16% I did. 84% did. Which isn't ideal. But it's okay. We'll see how we do next year. We'll do a physical TBR video here soon. I don't know if it's already up or not. I have to wait till the end of the year to film that to make sure I haven't bought any more, because I normally buy a few more before the end of the year comes out with my birthday and Christmas. So I will see you all in the next video.